Are we in the light?
Should we move towards the light?
Good now? Okay.
Back. This is the interpretive dance part of our...
All right. Hey, I'm Amber Smith.
And I'm Nic Turza. We're part of an organization called Activate Good, and frankly, the last brief really segued well into what we're going to talk to you about. We promote and inspire volunteerism, and tonight we're going to talk to you about our approach in doing so. You see, we want to really have you focused right here in the local and right here on basically your friends all around you. We want to start, though, talking about potential energy. Behind me, you see something you probably remember from grade school when it talks about potential energy and that ball striking the others. Well, we feel like people have that potential energy, too, all stored up right inside of them. And to give you a couple of famous examples, first we'll talk about Dr. King. Now, as many of you may know, he just had a big piece of marble dedicated to him in Washington, D.C., but you may not know that the quote behind me actually caused some controversy because Maya Angelou, who was on the committee, thought that it made him seem almost arrogant, and he was anything but. In everything that he did, he started just caring about the people beside him, and that took him to his heights. The same is true of Staff Sergeant Giunta, a winner of the Congressional Medal of Honor in Afghanistan, who won his medal not just by fighting the bad guys, but by helping the good guys, the guys right beside him. That was his pure, humble intent. Looking at your humble intent is what we're going to ask you to do, what we ask everyone to do. You see, we don't live in a world with real superheroes outside of the movie screens. We live in a world with regular heroes. People who get that way not by being a great civil rights leader or war hero, but by simply saying, you know, in my humble intent, I just see something wrong right next to me. I want to help somebody right next to me. Now, the person behind me now, you may notice is a famous actor, but he played a real person who was in a real war in Somalia years back. At the end of the movie, in this Black Hawk Down situation, he tells Josh Hartnett's character, you see, people think I'm a war junkie or something. It's not about that. That's not why I'm here. It's about the man next to you. So real people can be heroes, but real people need heroes too.
So how many of you have lived in the Triangle area for the last year? All right, so you guys know what this is all about. After the Raleigh tornadoes on April 16th, we saw a lot of local heroes rise up as volunteers to answer needs. But local heroes are also active year-round, like this guy, Ron Still, who's the founder of Basic Needs Ministry, is Activate Good's first nonprofit partner ever. And this guy was just a guy like you and me who saw a need in the community and did something about it. He saw that locals were struggling to access basic needs, food and clothing, so he founded the Basic Needs Ministry. And in 2003, he and his wife got this going and have been doing it ever since. And they've served thousands of people. And because the Basic Needs Ministry runs on very, very little money, all of this is really due to the impact of local volunteers. Another organization that we work with is called Urban Ministries, and you've probably heard of them. They saved the community $6 million in hospital costs last year, but still somehow managed to serve over 23,000 people, providing food assistance and clinic services. How is this possible? Well, of course, due to over 1,000 volunteers who provided translating services, medical skills, etc. So the question is, what would happen to our community if these volunteers did not step up to do something? Or conversely, what happens when volunteers do step up to become local heroes? What then is the ripple effect?
Sometimes the ripple effect can be huge, almost unimaginable. Obviously, the case of Dr. King, he didn't affect hundreds of people. He didn't affect thousands of people. He affected millions, hundreds of millions. How everyday life is lived right here in America and frankly impacted the way people think all across the world. Some days you will do something that you think, I don't know if this ever makes a difference, but it could impact far beyond what you'd ever imagine. And some days it can just impact the guy right next to you. Staff Sergeant Giunta's case, he didn't change the world. He saved the life of the man right next to him. That was it. That was his ripple. Guess how much that ripple means to that guy whose life he saved. So when we talk about potential, we are absolutely passionate and heartfelt in believing that this is not just something that is consigned to the chemistry or the physics laboratory. We believe people have this potential. Now, in physics, potential is just energy going back to its original configuration. We believe this is the original configuration within all of us. And when you finally release that bowstring or drop the hammer, you're making that difference. Now, maybe you want to wear a cape while you're doing it, and we'll let you. But really, at the end of the day, it's if you're going to decide to reach that potential energy and become a hero to someone who truly needs it right next to you.
And you often do that using the internet. Serious business, very serious. So through our work with Activate Good, we started to notice some trends. People were getting involved using the internet. People were being passionate about causes and finding their way to help through the internet. But the internet is still just a tool. What we really noticed was that human connections were causing people to get involved. As you can see here, there's some striking similarities between chemistry's catalyst concept and a social network. So for that reason, we recently launched an online volunteer community, which is basically a social network platform where you can connect to good causes and fellow do-gooders and find ways to volunteer and get involved. We really hoped that by providing this online community, we would be able to inspire offline action where people could share their stories, inspire their friends and family and coworkers to get involved. So that's really important because there are a ton of causes here, and even see some nonprofit friends in the audience who could really use more volunteer assistance.
So if any of this inspirational stuff is absolutely falling on deaf ears, I understand. But we also have facts. So right here beside me, you see some of the empirical data. For all of our rah-rah-rahing Raleigh all night long, in this category, we actually kind of stink. You see us compared to other major cities, and you actually just see us compared to Durham right down the road. We could do a lot better.
So that's our idea, is to activate the potential to do good by activating good through an online community where you can facilitate volunteerism yourselves. You guys can be the catalyst. Ask your neighbors, your friends, your coworkers to get involved. We hope you visit us at activategood.org and do so.
Thank you.
Thank you.